Hey there! Did you know that small businesses are extremely vulnerable to attack from cyber criminals right now? And that most don't survive for more than 6 months after a cyber incident. John Byrne here, entrepreneur, insurance professional, online educator, and founder of Surviving Cyber. My goal is to help small business owners and managers like you get to grips with this complex subject of cyber risk. You may be struggling now to clearly see the big picture, but once you separate the myth from the truth, you can begin to significantly reduce your risk. Over the next 15 days, through this video series, I'm going to walk you through 15 dangerous cybersecurity myths you probably believe. I'll explain the thinking behind each myth, why it's dangerous to believe it, and the truth you need to hear so that your small business can stay safe. Now, before we dive in, I want to give you access to my free Cyber Resilience Workshop. It's a 60-minute video workshop that will show you how to create your first survival plan for your small business in 30 days. It's full of practical tips that you can implement. If you don't already have access, use the link survivingcyber.com/workshop to register now. I'll also put that link in the video description below. Now, today, as we approach the end of our video series, we're going to talk about the final myth, number 15. We won't need to provide evidence of our cybersecurity. I hope you're ready to dive in. I'm John Byrne, and this is 15 dangerous cybersecurity myths you probably believe. Welcome to myth number 15. We won't need to provide evidence of our cybersecurity. Now, myth number 15 and the final myth in the series is a really interesting one because it looks to the future, and really it says the state of play that we have currently is that we are not being pressed for evidence of our cybersecurity, and we don't expect in the future that anybody will press us to provide evidence of our cybersecurity. So this is a view that the future will be as the past has been, which, as we've seen in this video series, is a suspect position to take. But let's have a look at the thinking. We've never been asked for evidence of our cyber posture in the past, so we really don't need to worry about this. The future will not be different to the past. As we've said, this is a rather suspect belief system to have, given the extent of digitization going on in the economy and the pace of change in the business operating model of all small businesses. The second thinking is, well, who could ever care enough about our small company to require us to provide evidence of our cyber posture or to prove our cyber resilience? Now, we've seen this thinking in other myths in this series, and we've discussed it in other videos. The truth is that there are many people who would require or could require you to provide evidence of your cyber resilience in the future, and they include government regulators in the event that you're in a regulated industry. They include large company customers of yours who would have higher standards for cybersecurity and who would be concerned about the risk that your company poses to them by virtue of you being part of their supply chain. And finally, any other third party who would regard your business as an entry point into their business and therefore would require you to evidence that you are in fact cyber secure. So the thinking is that nobody will ever require that, which is a very limited view of the future. And the third point here would be we don't expect any pressure in the future from our customers, our suppliers, our regulators, or anybody else to be able to provide evidence of our posture or prove our cyber resilience. So again, this is the limited view that the past is a very good indicator of the future. Nothing will change. There will be no general increase in standards, and we're fine. We don't need to provide any evidence to anybody in the future. As you can imagine, this is a dangerous myth because it assumes the past is a good guide for the future, and it fails to acknowledge what's been happening in the world, a global trend of increasing cyber risks and increasing concern by all the stakeholders about the security of companies and the security of systems and data in particular. It assumes that the cybersecurity of your small company will not grow in importance to your stakeholders, to all of these third parties, customers, suppliers, regulators, employees, and that evidence of your posture will never be required. Let's have a look at the truth. So here is truth number 15. Small businesses will increasingly be asked to provide evidence of their cybersecurity in the future. We've seen many times in the series that the past is not a good guide for the future when the world is rapidly changing and rapidly digitizing. The future will be different. Every year brings new and unexpected cyber threats to small businesses. 2021 has been a great example of that, with the massive increase in ransomware attacks and in phishing attacks against small businesses. And this trend of constant change, it's undeniable, and it's likely to be with us for years to come. Large companies that have small companies in their supply chain are already increasingly asking those small companies to provide evidence of their cybersecurity. In other words, evidence that they are safe to deal with, that they are cyber resilient. And cyber resilient is the expression used to indicate that they could survive a cyber attack. This evidence is usually provided through questionnaires, but scrutiny like this from large companies is likely to increase in the future, and I believe it will become common for large companies to use third-party services to do passive external scanning of your internet-facing infrastructure. Now, what this means effectively is that a third party would be able to scan your network, scan your infrastructure, and report back to your customer about the deficiencies in your cybersecurity. And if those reports were to prove very negative, you could well find yourself being dropped from the supply chain of that large company. So this is just one example of how the future will be different to the past. Small companies should expect to receive pressure in the future from their customers, their suppliers, even their employees who would be looking for evidence of job security, and from regulators for any regulated industry, and anybody else that they deal with to be able to prove their cyber resilience. So truth number 15 and the final truth in our series is that small businesses will increasingly be asked to provide evidence of their cybersecurity in the future. Thanks so much for watching today's video. I hope you found it helpful in exploding this myth and revealing the truth. Don't forget to register for the video workshop using the link survivingcyber.com/workshop, or click on the link in the video description below. I hope you've enjoyed this video series, 15 Dangerous Cybersecurity Myths You Probably Believe. And I hope it has helped you to uncover the truth of how to reduce cyber risk in your small business. I'm John Byrne, and I hope to see you again in another video soon.